Welcome, welcome.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. Oh, goodness. Okay. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So we are going to have a conversation about how do we create a business and IT partnership that will deliver superior customer and employee experiences. So that's a tall task to live up to. Yeah. Yes. All right. So why don't you both introduce yourselves before we get started?
Okay. So good afternoon. I'm Emmanuelle. I work as a customer experience director at Culligan. I'm also in charge of all transformation projects that relate to service. I joined Culligan 13 years ago. I have a financial background as internal controller, internal auditor, financial controller. Then I moved to projects, and I was also service director at Culligan. So I was managing technicians and back office people. So I have an operational field role. And now I'm back into project and into customer experience, and that's a subject I really like. Talking about a little bit about Culligan. So Culligan is a US company that was founded in 1936. So we have a global presence across the globe, 200 countries.
I didn't realize it was 1936.
Yeah. So what we do, we manufacture, we sell, we install, and we service water treatment equipment. We have a B2C activity. We have in France 200,000 customers in B2C, and B2B 80,000. So we have an excellent NPS score, 75%. So Marie set up the goal for us now at 80. So we are super jealous, but so we're not so good. But we were proud, but we have still room
You felt good before you got here.
Yeah, definitely.
That's not the goal. Yeah.
So how do we, and also our business model, we have a lot of service contracts. So each time we sell 10 equipments, we sell 9 contracts. So we have recurring revenues. That's part of our business model, and we set up this 20 years ago. So it's a mature activity. And how do we achieve 75%? It's because of good products, good service, dedicated team, technicians, and back office people. Good process and good tools that Stéphane and his team are helping to implement. So, Stéphane.
Thank you for the nice word, Emmanuelle. So I'm Stéphane. I'm the IT director for Culligan in France and Switzerland for the last 11 years now.
Yeah, I arrived before you.
You see that? and actually, and before that, I was working as a project manager at Accenture for 5 years, and then 10 years at PPG, which is a leading paint manufacturer. It's a US company, probably, you know that.
Pittsburgh plated glass.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So, okay. So they don't do glass anymore.
I know.
It's paint, but
Paint, yes.
and in that company, by the way, I was for 3 years responsible for the customer care team. There was no field service activities, but it was customer care. Having said that, so in France, we have a team of 15 people. Half of them are dedicated to customer relationship. Customer is Emmanuelle and all the people. It's really key, in fact, to have that dedicated people to discuss with the business. Because, as we were saying, in fact, what is critical and most difficult, I would say, is not the technology. Is being able to listen, and from this listening, then to create things together. That's one of the key things. What I wanted to add on Culligan, in fact, 5 to 6 years ago, we had a new owner who decided that there was a pretty good potential with Culligan, but we were not big enough. So basically, gave us some money to buy, And what we can say today, we are 10 times bigger than what we used to be 6 years ago. So a lot of acquisition, huh? A lot of acquisition. And that's already, apart from the topic and how we're gonna discuss about projects and so on, we, as a company, build all the competencies to acquire first, assess, see what is available on the market, assess and so on. And as IT, support indeed the assessment of the business and then integrate. Because that requires quite a lot of work. And as an example, I think last year we did five acquisitions in France. So it's quite some few things, but it's quite a lot of work, but it's very interesting. I mean, it's better to be in a company that acquire and grow rather than lay off and sell factories.
Yeah. Okay. So when I mentioned I've been in this space for about 15 years, and so when I started interviewing people, I would say, generally speaking, the technology decisions were all made, or mostly all made, by IT. Things were a lot more stagnant than they are now. So it was, we have a need, we evaluate systems, we put a system in place, it will sit there for the next 5, 10 plus years, and we'll move on to the next thing. Obviously, that has changed a lot. And I would say future of field service tends to attract more of a business title or role, just because it's my fault. I mean, not my fault, but it's probably just because of what I naturally tend to talk about. But I do think that, how much that relationship has evolved. I thought it would be really interesting to have a conversation about, what that looks like and what it means. So you've both been with the business for...
we are dinosaurs.
No, you are not. But tell me in your own words, how has the relationship between the business and IT evolved in the time that you've been with the company?
I would start even a bit before, if I just shortly... My perception is the following. In the old time, so before 20,000, the year 2000, basically we're living in a world that was pretty close. So the technology of connecting systems was not existing, basically. So we're in a world that, in fact, IT was about implementing servers, computers, and system, but it was closed system. So it was better to have a big system that trying to do most of it and run most of the business without problem. And that time, indeed, was pretty rigid. And you were relying very much on the IT if you wanted to improve something. Then from year 2000, let's say, we started to have open systems. So the technology was here, say, well, instead of having a single system that was all, I started to build some, best of breeds application that could connect to each other. And then there was a tendency to look at this best of breed system, say, well, this does better than my ERP, so I want that one. But that's when the shadow IT started. So some editors of that brilliant system started to go to the business leader, say, hey, I can do that for you. Oh, I love that. Yeah, but I need to refer to IT. No, you don't need to refer to IT. Huh?
No, don't. Otherwise,
and start the project.
Nothing will happen.
Exactly. Otherwise, nothing will happen.
That was definitely...
And which was true at that time,
Yeah.
So many, shadow IT started and actually was picking just because actually there was brilliant solution that was doing a brilliant job, but there was no connection with the other system. And that's later on when the IT was, requested to start connecting the system, say, hey, what's going on? What have you done with that? And it took some time for the IT to realize that they were not quick enough at implementing. They were not actually
Understanding
the
business need.
The business need, indeed. Otherwise, they would have not been here. And they didn't have. They didn't have the understanding of the technology that enables to connect the systems. So it took quite some time before say, okay, having a best of breed system that does that without connection is good, but it does not do all. So we need now to connect, and that's when the business and the IT started to discuss again. There is a better relationship. I say, okay, now we'd better, talk to each other and start working.
It was a little tense at first, though.
No, between us, it was not tense.
Okay.
Actually, Stéphane.
Yeah, what's your take?
Stéphane and myself, we came on board because of the issues between IT and business. Because I started at Culligan, and Culligan France was in the middle of a transformation project that was 12 years ago, and nothing was working because what has been designed, it was delivered to the team. The team was only IT. No business people, and when the business people started using the tool, say, hey, how can I do that? Oh, well, it hasn't been planned. So it was total disaster. Fortunately, it was implemented just at a pilot region, but it was total disaster. And then I was not working for France, and the CEO came, he came to me and said, oh, do you want to manage the project? And since I like challenges, oh yeah, sure. So I took over, and I think you came in 1 year after. But in the story, they fired the previous CIO.
And you're both still here, so that says something about how you turned it around.
So it's a long story.
Okay. Yeah. So, all right. So we know. So we talked about what changed that made the partnership important.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And in recent years, we saw that IT started using the same customer care processes, like surveys, like ticket system, they felt pressure to deliver. Before, you could send a request, and after a month, did you see my request? I don't have time. Now it's, they've understood that, it's a partner relationship. They have internal customers that serve end customers, and end customers, they pay our salary. So now it's completely different.
Yeah.
So there's more of an aligned objective, right? Now that everything is oriented toward the sort of customer centricity, it allows more common goal, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to add one important thing to me, which is, in fact, in the old time, let's say very old time, the innovation, we expected the innovation to come from IT. But it was too slow, not strong enough, and so on. Today, I prefer to have Emmanuelle looking at what is available on the market, what technology is available, and that makes sense for the business. That makes sense. Prefer Emmanuelle to do that, and comes back to us, say, well, I've seen that, and I've seen that. So then we start fighting, say, you're crazy, you can't do all at the same time. But it's good discussion.
Yeah.
So really, the innovation, what is available in technology, is not an IT matter. It's really a business matter, and we are working together. So, especially from a business, everything related to the business, it's really true.
And in my opinion, two things. Today, that's just my opinion. Companies, they have pressure on cash and investment, where they want to put the money. They cannot wait for years like before, unless they are very big groups and they can pay consultants, they can pay a lot of money to...
No, you were saying they don't want to invest because things are going well, but you can't not, right? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so in my opinion, most companies, they cannot, enter 2 years, 3 years project without seeing a single dollar before 3 years. They need to have quick wins. And in my opinion, it's not because it's simple, because it's not expensive, that it's not going to work and deliver value. And what we've seen, we have some examples that sometimes we are able to very quickly implement things and deliver a lot of value for customers and for employees.
That's correct.
Okay, so we've talked about sort of the evolution and why it happened. Can we talk a little bit about how do you create a productive, collaborative relationship? Okay, because, I'm sure when the need first arose to collaborate more, there was some tension, some friction, but we have to work well together. How do you make sure that the business and the IT teams are communicating effectively, prioritizing the right things, making decisions together? Just talk a little bit about what that successful partnership looks like to you.
Just to give you an example, at Culligan, each year we have the internal CX months. So the teams from the headquarters, they go on the field and they work with the teams.
Okay.
So that's a very good opportunity.
So every function from headquarters goes into the field with technicians.
So they go with technicians, they go with back office people, and they actually see the real work.
I like that,
Yeah. So that's a way to really to understand what's going on, what are the challenges. And sometimes, they realize, I didn't know you had to enter 2 times the same data. Say, maybe I have an idea, and I love that because that really delivers value. And then the people from the field, they will, worship you, for that. It's just simple things, but then you make their day and their life and their months because it's a game changer for them.
Yeah.
And I think it's something we need to even foster more, to encourage more, to build trust and
Exactly, and to me, trust is a key word. So building trust, and building trust is not something you decide.
Yeah.
It takes time, and you need to make effort to build trust. But once you build trust, you can fight. Actually, we are fighting. We don't have easy conversation all the time. But we know each other enough that when we say something, it's not against Emmanuelle or against myself. I know that. It's for the business.
We are so passionate.
We are just sharing ideas and opinions. It's normal to disagree. It's positive conflicts. And you can have this good discussion only when the trust is here.
So you have to trust each other, but how do you work through those positive conflicts?
Well, first, building trust. So building trust, again, how do you build that trust? And our president, Florent Carbonneau, is a big fan of that. He has spent a lot of time with all these executive committee to build trust. And it took us in some exercise, in some committee, it was really 2 hours, spending only for the purpose was to build trust, know each other, and capitalize on that. So that's why I'm saying it's a real exercise. You have to do that, and you should do that, of course, at the executive team level, but in all teams and together with the business. That's really critical. When do we have conflicts? Well,
I can't remember the last one.
I do.
Okay.
I love this.
I do. No, it was it was a good one. I will tell you later.
I'll tell you later.
I think.
I think we had a conflict maybe 2 years ago because I wanted to implement a tool that now has been implemented and is a real game changer for the teams. And Stéphane was saying, no, it's not in the roadmap, the EMEA won't like it. And then today you're the best advocate of it,
Hey, no, agree. But again, it was more a matter of resource. Did we have the resource to make it? And it was at that time we didn't have the resource.
So I'm hearing that Emmanuelle is tenacious.
You can say that.
Yes, it's such a good trait.
Diversity.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'll tell you a quick aside story. So when years and years ago, when my husband and I were first married, I asked him a very foolish question. We were in the car, and just causing trouble. I said, hey babe, what one word would you use to describe me? So why would I say that? I mean, that's just going to start an argument. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I expected. Loving, whatever. And he said, tenacious. And I'm like, tenacious? He's like, no, that's a good thing.
It is stubborn.
Like, okay, yeah. No, it is a good thing. Okay, so.
I just wanted to add one thing.
Yes, please do.
Come back on one thing. So you need to build trust, but you also need to find the right people in your team to be able to work together, and in both teams. So I'll take you an example. So we have just started a new transformation project with Emmanuelle. We're working on that. It's a very nice one, Everybody loves it. We had to choose who gonna participate in the project, who will be the key players, and especially the business process owners. So we have spent quite some time discussing the people, this BPO function, what will be the function, what is the expectation from that role, and who will be there. And spend really a lot of time. And I remember the word of our CIO say, be careful and be sure to take the right decision, have the right person. If it doesn't hurt the organization to have this person moving to that position, then it's not the right guy. You are investing, when you are doing such a project, you are investing on the long term. Make sure you are making the right decision and the right person on that. And
that's
really,
wise, that's a wise statement, because a lot of times, again, going back to, I know we're not talking about disruptive innovation, but just change in general, that tendency not to disrupt the status quo can be so strong that they would say, don't take the best person. We need them to keep doing this thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's really wise.
But we took the best person.
No, sure.
Okay. So choose the right people.
Yeah.
Trust.
And build trust.
What else?
Build trust. So, of course, when choose the person, they need to be very open. They need to be able to listen, understand, ask questions, as you were saying. And you have also to organize this relationship. So it relates to the governance, who is leading what, and have a clear view of what is expected from the other party. Of course, it makes sense what I'm saying, but it is very important also to spend time at the very beginning on clear description of what is expected and the governance model. And now governance model, our projects are business-driven projects, basically. With business case, and maybe you're
like
gonna say
the 4C you were mentioning. Does it serve the customer? Does it serve the employee? And does it serve the company performance? We're still missing the carbon footprint, which needs to be more. It's starting.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So you mentioned how rapidly you've been acquiring organizations. So that makes me think of a few things. But I mean, one is, as those folks come in, you're trying to, I assume, bring them onto a standard and get them onto a cohesive system. I'm also thinking about change management, which isn't necessarily a topic we have to get into, but I'm just thinking like the pace at which you're bringing new people into the business that you have to sort of, handhold into, here's what the new reality looks like, right? But from an IT perspective, how does that work with the companies that you're acquiring? How do you manage, bringing those people in and getting up to speed?
Basically depends on the size of business you are acquiring and how far it is from your existing operations. So the latest acquisition we made, or the one we made last year, one had a business model which was pretty different, and we keep them on a separate system. Basically, in fact, we roll out the financial system just to be on the same system. But for the operation, they are still running on their system because the business model is pretty different. We are quite company. Business model was very similar. Just stuck in. It's a data migration basically. You take from their system, you integrate them, you run. You have a single system operation, and then manage in a consistent way throughout the business. Is perfect. And sometimes you are making larger acquisition. The merger we did with WaterLogic, which takes more time because of the size. And here it was a good opportunity for us to review, in fact, our strategy. What I'm saying that. In fact, there was two coincidences. Because of this acquisition, we have many different applications across the globe with so many different systems, and can become quite a nightmare. So that's one. So we're at a stage from Culligan side at the stage say we need to rationalize that. We need to adopt a standard and have a quick way to roll out that system to the different acquisition. So that was one. And from the other companies, so WaterLogic, basically they were about at the same stage. So their landscape was so, and they were building an ERP. They were a bit in advance compared to Culligan, a bit in advance in terms of rolling out, but they were building a sort of core system. I don't say the word core system, but okay. And when we opened the book, we realized that basically we made the same system choice. It was surprising. So we had a try with SAP. It was a total disaster. We left it. We decided, we looked at other things. We tried a bit of Microsoft, was not successful. And we started at Culligan a roadmap with IFS. And the same thing happened at Culligan. So when we opened, even though IFS is not the widest system used in the company, we both made the same choice, and the same. So for the ERP, and the same apply with all the lead to contract system. So we both said that Salesforce is what we wanted to have. When I say we, of course, it is a business. Emmanuelle. So we realized that we were pretty close. So it was obvious. I mean, in terms of IT strategy, it was pretty obvious that we will go to the separate these two main systems. The only thing that is important to keep in mind also is from the DNA of Culligan, we want to stay pretty local. So I wouldn't talk about standardization to our CEO, for instance. He doesn't like the word standardization.
Okay.
I was in the US 3 weeks ago. He came to the meeting room where we're standing all, the IT guys, and he had a 30-minute speech saying no standardization. For IT guys, what's going on? But basically, his point is the following: what makes the difference is the point of impact. So where is your point of impact with your customers and with your employees? It is locally. It is locally on the field. It is at the technical, at the tech level, and who's better than the French management? Who's best to decide what is good for your French business? Because in fact, as you understand, for Emmanuelle, we have a pretty, say, local market. We are not playing on a global market. It's pretty local market. So keep it simple. So that's why I don't like the word core system. It doesn't mean, it's not because you are choosing one single system that you don't allow to have, to implement at country level specific process. That's my point. But Still, it's quite a challenge.
Yeah.
For IT, it's quite a challenge.
Yeah.
But we managed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could get into a whole another conversation because I'm curious. Sort of, I get the point about letting the local operations stay true to what point of impact they have with customers, with the workforce. Obviously, though, there has to be some shared systems, resources, et cetera, right? So I'm sure that's interesting to sort out. So other than the project that's in place to put what we don't like to call a core system in place, what are some of the other biggest areas of focus for Culligan as a business?
So in our strategy, we are and we want to continue and to grow as a customer-centric company. Mm-hmm. So that's my big challenge. It's on my roadmap. So I'm in the transformation project, but I would like really to bring a real customer culture mindset, mm-hmm. because sometimes you do customer washing, mm-hmm. But actually in your process, in the people you recruit, you onboard, are you really focusing on customer? Mm-hmm. So that's really something that is important. And so it's important for customer satisfaction, for customer retention. I don't think we heard that today, mm-hmm. but for us it's very important because it costs 5 times more to acquire a new mm-hmm. customer than retain an existing customer. And if an existing customer is satisfied, it means referral, it means more value, lifetime value. So it's very important for us. Mm-hmm. So we are working on that, and we are investing in processes and also with AI. So for me, I'm looking at everything that AI can bring us in terms of data analysis. That's mm-hmm. also how do we make good use, ethical as well, use of our data, mm-hmm. How the business can use it to generate revenue, to retain customers. Mm-hmm. So that's and of course employee retention, mm-hmm. because if you have good tools, you have happy employees and you have happy customers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely. Truly believe that.
Okay.
So other areas, particularly where we stand at Culligan, so we believe that in terms of customer portal, so we could go a bit further. So we also already provide the customers ability to book their own appointments with mm-hmm. the text. But basically, we almost only do that. Yeah. Which is good, mm-hmm. But and we want to go a bit further in terms of offering. In fact, what is key is get your customer engaged with our company. It's probably what you have also at Darty. You want to have your customer engaged. So the more you offer to him to self-serve, the more he is engaged with your company, and the more he will stay.
Yeah.
So
that's also something we want to be better at, self-care, knowledge database, mm-hmm. to let the customer manage what I call level 0, level 1 request, sure. and what goes to customer service are more difficult requests. And also the people in customer care, they really need to have the right mindset, which is in place in 95% of the case. But mm-hmm. I always like to say you need service. Customer care is not a cost center. Mm-hmm. It's a revenue generating center. Mm-hmm. And just keep this in mind because, mm-hmm. and if a customer is unhappy and comes to you, that's an opportunity. Because you were talking about neuroscience this morning, mm-hmm. and I read something about that, and I thought that was very interesting. When the customer is coming to you with a claim, it's because he has trust that you will solve his problem. Mm-hmm. So he's scared, he needs to be listened, he needs to have comfort, he needs to get an answer and a solution. And whatever the relationship you had with him during 20 years, you deliver the service he's paying for, it's normal. Mm-hmm. But the day he comes with a problem, if you're able, he has a negative emotion, and if you are able to transform in a positive experience, he will remember only this day. You know, he'll say, Culligan, they were great. I had a problem. They solved it in 5 minutes. I'm happy, and he will talk about that. So, and that's something he will remember in his brain. So
absolutely. Yeah, it's an opportunity to create trust and closer relationships. I was also thinking another interesting aspect of how, I guess, the relationship between business and IT, but also just the landscape overall has changed, is this idea of, so you're working on this big transformation project right now with putting the core system in place, but you're already thinking, and then next we want to work on our customer portal, and then we also want to work on our knowledge base, et cetera. So I think that's this other big shift, is that, probably even when you started at Culligan, it was a lot more, there was a big project, you worked on that, it was done. Now it's a lot of continual improvement, refinement, looking at, how do you get more value out of the technologies you have in place? What do you add on top of that to create more value for your employees or your customers? So it's a lot more of a, agile environment.
Yeah, absolutely. There are two things in what you're saying. So first is every time there is a new idea, so we try to identify what is the ROI, what is the value, basically. And that has changed from the past. So value creation is really key for any kind of change request on a regular basis. Every time say, what is the value of that? How much? And it doesn't mean that we'll not make it, but we have a monthly review of all the requests, basically, depending on the service. And basically, the business is telling us, you should start with that. So we rank them, of course. And what does the business? The thing that brings more value, that will be on the top of the list. Makes sense. So really working very hard on what is the value creation behind the request. So that's one. Second, as you were saying, methodology of running the project. So the agile methodology is being used now completely. It is adopted. That's what we have adopted as methodology for our project. And it has changed a lot. So we used to have this project in V cycle where it takes a long time, months to develop, and there is this tunnel where you see nothing, you have express your needs, and you are waiting. At one point of time, say, here it comes, but it doesn't match what I've said. We all know that. So that has changed a lot. Yeah. And that's, that was really good.
So when you both think about what does the next 5 years look like? So we've talked about the evolution of the relationship and what makes it successful today. What do you think the future holds?
What's that?
I don't think in 5 years range. For me, now we all seen, the AI, ChatGPT, how fast. So I think, if we don't go into these things quickly, we will quickly be outdated.
Fall behind.
Yeah. Yeah, so
it's
and
enough,
based on that,
it's enough to keep pace, not think about what's coming next, right? Is what you mean? Like, it's hard enough to keep up. You're not worried about 5 years from now.
Yeah, because, who can say, I think if we meet in 5 years, what we said today, maybe in 2 years, it would have been totally different. So,
yeah.
And because Emmanuelle is saying that she has a new idea, it's a brilliant idea, there's business case there behind it, and then it needs to be done tomorrow.
I have too many ideas,
We have to adapt.
No, but it always brings value. Huh?
No, but I agree.
I have a strong business case, the best in the company. No, but just kidding.
No, but what it means in terms of 5 years' time. So what we have to improve in the 5 years time, or what we need to improve anyway. First is to adopt all the tools that enables you to quickly integrate solutions. We're saying that you have best of breed. So I was talking about Salesforce and IFS, but at the end you see there is a lot of small applications that do a piece of things, and you need to be. It helps the agility and the fact that to be quick to integrate into integration. We are adopting these tools, and you have to insource some of these capabilities because it is crucial. Second, we have to work on partners and build strong partnerships with the guy that knows better technology. So we as IT, we can't manage all the technology. It's too much. There is too many. It's different, and it's not enough. So you need to be sure what creates more value and what you have to insource, and the rest you have to find and select the right partner that will be working with you and the business to create the value. So that's what we are starting to do, to reassess, in fact, who are our technology providers to make sure to make the right choice. Yeah. And then, once you've done that, or in the middle, again, you have to create, you have to build the trust and the relationship with your partner to make it work efficiently. So that's the thing we are working on to be able to satisfy Emmanuelle.
Yeah, and on the business side, it's not happening within 5 years. I hope, I want all low-value activities to disappear for the business.
Yeah, which I think is an incredibly attainable goal. It's there. It's just, yes. Yeah. So, Emmanuelle, I want to ask you, since you are the other woman in service speaking here today, I want to ask you the question about what are your thoughts on how we bring more gender diversity into our industry? I know, I'm throwing you another curveball, but...
you're out of the script. No. I think it's... but I see more now in the younger generation, you need to trust yourself, It's not because men don't want to welcome you, Sometimes women, I always hear that to apply for a job, a woman will wait to have 200% of the skills, and men just 50%. They will apply. So I don't know how you call this syndrome, good girl or imposter syndrome, but you need to work on that, And so that's how. And if the women do not have this, you need to have mentors and people pushing them, And I have. In the past, I had a very good boss, and he told me, gave me an advice, say, well, Emmanuelle, you will have performance review, every year you will have performance reviews. Good managers, they will tell you what you did well, and they will tell you to focus on that, and you develop what you're best at. And the bad managers, they will tell you, you didn't do this well, this. So focus on your strengths, and that's what you need to do.
Okay. And, I just messed up, but that's all. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.